Okay, I should do this thing. Hello, it's Tony. Oh man, my eyes. Um, okay, we'll wait for ads to finish before I really start. How dare you do a thing? I did a thing, yes. I'll be honest, I was not really feeling said thing. I was like, maybe tomorrow, but you know what? That's what makes it easy to say tomorrow. Maybe Monday. So I'll put back on. I'll go on a schedule eventually. Um, we'll see. Okay, so that is hitting now. That is subscribing. So after I figured out the download thing yesterday, I realized that my event bus was basically blocking because I had multiple subscribers to the same event, to different events. You must respect the ticket. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so this does go through this. Okay, so I have a subscriber. Yes. Yes, I do have a subscriber channel. Okay, so I have a subscriber to this channel. Is it completed? No. Right. Then write the task to it. Publish the task. Okay. The right task. We add that task to publish. We have multiple subscribers. And that's a dead subscriber. Oh. How's that a dead subscriber? Subscriber channel is completed. When all published tasks. And the published tasks are, there's one task to publish and it's faulted. Awesome. Awesome. So this is where you end up with a more robust solution. This is where I put a basic queue in the database. What I was trying to use was these channels. So I try complete. Why would it say complete? Is completed try complete? Try complete on the writer. Why would it do that? Oh dear. 1 second. So basically, what I'm trying to do is use these in-memory channels to do simple eventing between processes. And the idea being that, ooh, that's very sweet smelling. The idea being that when I hit the button, I don't want to wait for that download, right? I want to trigger the download in the background and then return to the client and say, yep, it's going to finish, right? After having the download finish yesterday, that was step one. But then I realized that because I'd added more of these services to kind of monitor these domain events, I was actually blocking and whatnot there. So I got like one event. I get, yeah, so I got these updates come through and I got one event and then it would bail on the file, right? So it publishes them all, but it doesn't actually publish because it doesn't write to the channel. That's not even using the channel. Oh, because that's the channel reader writer. Yeah, I get it now. So what should happen is when I subscribe, it should create a new subscriber channel for me, and it should add that to the list, and then go into this loop of how does that ever come out of that? Huh? Yield return, it's an async enumerable, and we await those, so we block. Let's see if we ever get to the right part. Well, we get to the publish, but on the channel, do we get there? Do we get there? Okay. Now I'm on the other side of the download, so this isn't going to download the file multiple times. I don't want to. I hope I'm not going to fall foul of that. There, I should probably return a task.completed task rather than checking for null on the other side. Okay, so we are reading. There's my 2 starts on this side of things. So I have a domain event service here, which is going to, and right now it's going to listen for the pricing update requested. If this gets more involved, then I will have to break this out more. But it's a simple event bus in memory to try and do these events. I don't want to pull. I don't want to pull fast endpoints event bus into here, because I think that would be more costly, because then I'm going to have fast endpoints throughout my application code, which I don't want. Okay, so that fired there, and we never write. Well, that's the reason why. As may be apparent, some of this is AI code, so let's figure out what I missed. Assuming I missed anything. Right. Oh, stop resetting. Are you kidding me? So the idea is a simple one. Actually, where does it write? I don't think it tries to write. I think it's publish tasks. So publish task. Oh, it should get there. Subscriber is complete. I don't like that. I don't think that's right. Complete is completed. What tries to complete it now? Also, shouldn't that be channel.dispose? Oh no, you just close the readers and writers. Okay. That's it. It doesn't have a dispose on the channel. I assume I subscribe a channel. We don't return the channel, we return the stream. Try remove. Clean up subscribers. Dispose complete. Okay. I think it's completing it. I think it tries to complete it, and that's the problem. I think the pattern's wrong. Again, using AI is not going to do me much good there if I'm trying to learn myself and don't know how to stop it or question it. But that makes more sense now. Okay, I get that. I get that twice. That's fine. Click this button. That triggers the update. There we go. We get to our right now. There's our right. There's our right again. Oh. That actually might have gone through. No? Okay. That's a little worrying. Oh. No. That's not good. Oh. There we go. It's not pretty. But we should start to see. Oh, wow. My computer's chugging. How's the stream doing? There you go. So the pricing updates are going through. Is that the mouse or is that the actuals? Okay. So the key fact here is that I'm getting these update event received. So I'm going actually doing the update data. That's what I wanted to see. So all this is going through. Spin every 10 seconds. There you go. Okay, that's awesome. That's good news. So that downloaded the file. On putting the file in there, it detected the file, read through the file, figured out all the changes, published the events to say, hey, now we need to process these, and is processing those one by one using the channel event bus. So it's working. That was the right thing. Morning, Zons. How you doing? So that is going through nicely. We just look for that to stabilize now. So it'll take 2 or 3 minutes to process that many. So what this is doing is it's updating the pricing for these games. So you see price chart ID 14736. If I go to star from price charting snapshot, where price charting ID equals that, that's microcosm. And if I do star from price charting snapshot history, by import date descending, the previous record there should be August 31st. So it's moved what it had into the history, and it's updated the current record as being valid, right? It's going a little slow though. Let's just close that down a second. Yeah, NBA Jam. Nice, that only refreshes when I'm on that screen. I'm not bad today. I'm good today. Thanks, Lance. Complete my walk. Nice. By the way, I ended up closing that church customer call yesterday. Nice. Nice. It's a good one. Progress. So yeah, you can see it's going through all these changes now. Now what should happen is, as I go here, yeah, you can see the biggest changes have altered again. So yesterday this said Super Mario World. That still might end up in there. They'll onboard next week. Very cool. That's good to hear. But Sonic the Hedgehog Chaos for the Master System increased in price. Oh, that's an interesting side effect. Because I'm hitting the database, I assume. And now I have a few more referrals. That's awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, there you go. So, Sonic the Hedgehog Chaos, new copy. Like, Complete has decreased in the last pricing update, but over the year it's 13% up on where it was a year ago. So, yeah. But these I'd expect to change. Yeah, these are changing a bit. Wipeout. Wow. Okay, so that's interesting because that process is happening. That process is happening in the web server. So that's just an excuse to build that as a separate service. So what I'm doing in this app is I'm relying heavily on background services, which become part of the web app. That seems to be kicking me in the butt right this second. Right? Yeah. That search hasn't come back yet. It looks like it's blocked by this. But they've... Oh, that might be finished. That might be finished. Yeah, that's finished. So is that just IGDB slow today? Or because I just... None of that update process spams IGDB. No. I think everything's just slow. Disk is low. CPU is high. But dropping off. We're just catching up. This is the weird thing here is it's cache details. Unless Mongol's being weird. Oh dear. It's not one problem, it's another. I'm now beginning to wonder if people watch multiple streams at once. I don't know. It's very hard to listen to multiple streams. And welcome in, Ablative. I normally have multiple streams up, but I mute and listen in periods. Okay, so that update fully finished, right? So the pricing update was done. That finished. I am happy that was completed. However, let's restart the app and see if that caused any of those problems. Maybe I had a breakpoint sat somewhere and it was blocking requests. I don't see how, but... And those should be background services. Those should be running as separate tasks. So I don't believe that should cause me any problems. But you never know. Like, this data is returning quickly. Wow, Speedball 2100. Link to IGDB. Oh, there you go. Okay, maybe there's a performance issue there with that. I've got a complete copy. It's worth $6. Wow, it's shot up in price. It's worth $17 again. A year ago it was worth $12. I mean, that'll be flying off the shelves. Again, these are pricing. This is listing the highest pricing discrepancy based upon the previous pricing update for it, right? So this is saying, you know, Toe Jam and Earl, I have one copy. It's a loose copy of Toe Jam and Earl for the Genesis, $25. Price chart says a complete copy, that's $50. But on the previous pricing update, which was, the last price was $60, now someone paid $126 for it, right? Well, I mean, that's essentially what that's triggering, right? It's based up off, it's based up off the fact that it's highlighted here, it's a outlier, is that it is more than twice the average pricing for, yeah, the difference is twice the average or whatever. It's like, that's what it's highlighting. I'll refine that as I go. Right, but by percentage, it's easier for a $10 game to get noticed. True. So Final Fantasy VII is 627% more than it was a year ago. Even the complete copies now, I mean, it dropped again recently. People seem to be paying for that based upon some random numbers, but yeah, a complete copy of that a year ago was worth $2,000 apparently. And now it's just shot back up because on August 11th, the price, someone paid $426 for one, and then someone just paid $1,200 for a copy. So, yeah. Final Fantasy X. Yeah, very, very different. I only own one copy of Final Fantasy X. I probably own a bunch of the remaster things. Yeah, 10x2. Yeah, Final Fantasy 9. So we could figure out biggest dollar increase, right? Quite simply. That would be select star from price charting snapshot. Join price. Join history, PCH, CS on PCS dot equals PCH dot where PCH dot import date So that should give me that, and then we should be able to do greatest, yeah, greatest, PCS.complete inbox minus right as price difference order by one descending. Woo, that's a lot. PCS price chart ID. Lunar Remastered. Oh no, order by Paperboy. So on the front page, Paperboy was listed. That's increased 229%. That's gone up from, yeah, $500 on July 26th to $1,651 from one page. So that's the biggest individual increase. John Madden Football, that's an impressive one. Did that even make it to this list? That did not make it to this list. John Madden. So, yeah, new price increase 56%. Update on update. I've only got a loose copy of that one, apparently. Whoa. 2,200% year on year increase. Someone really wanted John Madden. So that is crazy. $87 on June 21st, $2,000 on July 26th, and $2,900. What happened to John Madden Football? What happened to that? That's insane. No, I don't have a copy. I only have a loose copy of that. It's only worth $10. I don't even have a box copy of John Madden Football. Huh. $10. 34. First game release, super rare. No. The problem with this is because of the way we seem to do things now, right? If people see someone pay something stupid, like some of the games I've gone on, I've bought and probably overpaid by 15-20% for them because it's convenient. It's buy it now. I don't bid on them. I don't mess around with bidding wars and people trying to pump the price up. I just pay the price that I'm happy to pay for the game I want. The problem with that is it oftentimes inflates the prices. But if people go and pay stupid money for a game, then other people start to pile on, and it pushes the price of the game up anyway. So, yeah, that's insane. Football. That's John Madden Football. Doesn't offer that for the Super Nintendo. Ah. Hey, Ramos. No, this is a React app right now. With a .NET backend. Looking at Codeology, doesn't seem like a work website. Target is students. Okay. So if you're new to the stream, this is my game collection tracking app. This is for me to keep track of a bunch of video games, keep an eye on pricing, be able to link them to IGDB so I can find out more. That's probably mistyped. Yeah. If you have any questions, thoughts, opinions on what I'm doing, you're more than welcome. All the code for this is open source. You're more than welcome to check it out. Just trying to get back into C#, trying to out .NET 9. Nice. Nice. Yeah. I have done Blazor apps on stream before. And you can see some of the things I've done on the stream, the GitHub. If you're interested, there is Water Drink Water and developers.stream are two sites that are Blazor based. And then this is my Game Trove app, which is also up there, all open sourced. Let's look at web and JavaScript. There's probably going to be some console apps for a while. Then, so thank you for the follow. This app is entirely developed in React using Claude. Full disclaimer: I make sure that the commits I put on there are, if Claude did the code, I commit as Claude. So I let Claude put Claude's name is on all the commits, so you can see how much of that app is actually Claude generated. Is it good? No, but does it work? Kind of does, doesn't it? For the most part. Yeah. So I do some stuff on stream that is not open source. I haven't done it in a few weeks due to some issues, but I will eventually get back to that at some point once I decide what that looks like. That is a much larger application, a full distributed application called Liquid Sky, which is a project management and planning application. But yeah, Choplifter 3 for the master system. Is it Choplifter 3 or Choplifter? Oh no, now I have doubts. Choplifter on the master system. Cannot load enhanced details. Yeah, I think React's got itself all confused on this one. What? No, what are you doing? What? What? It's been severed. You've been severed. Games API, endpoints, games, link to IGDB, associate with IGDB, link game, mapping not equal to null, right? And the game ID does not equal the game ID. Oh. Yeah, that's dumb logic, that, isn't it? If... Oh, no. If mapping not equal to null and the game ID isn't there, else... Nice. I work in IT, but enjoy coding as a hobby, but I've been bouncing around Python, Java, Go, but only at surface level. So I wanted to just pick one language I can really get into and think I want to go with C# since I used a bit in college and enjoy explicitly typed languages. End goal was to make something people would use I can maintain and contribute to some awesome open source projects. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. I like C Sharp. I've been doing it for 20 years. So it's kind of it's kind of natural to me. That's awesome. Yeah. Um, how is it possible that I can't even see how much characters I've used for TTS on Azure? I'm not sure. No API. You're trying to get a job in coding because if that's the goal loading coding, I might choose a different language. What than C Sharp, Dota? There is plenty of .NET stuff. Or did you not read the entire thing? Eh. Why? I mean, that's diversion. I mean, Remorse didn't say, yeah. If you're just doing it to code something cool. Depends on where you're heading with that. Like, eh. Working IT support at the moment, but I'm interested in going into infrastructure cloud and on-prem local. Personally, I would be better suited for C Sharp as the ministry local is finance, banking, and law. So tons of Windows Enterprise environments running .NET. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, yeah. C Sharp is a fine language to learn, especially if you're not really focused on the web side of things. Sorry. Um, if you're not focused on the web side of things as well, yeah, it's I don't know. I'm still a fan of doing what you enjoy, what you love doing. So it's a thing. Why does that not bring up ads? Okay, Streamlabs. Oh, that's not necessarily a good thing. Having to code in a lot of different languages. Just for a hobby, just for something I'm a bit familiar with and can make some fun console apps and bits. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of stuff you can do with .NET, right? You can do, here I'm using server, I'm building APIs, I'm doing background services, I'm interacting with web services, etc. So, programming programs. Yeah, the whole code with a lot of. I agree to some extent with that advice, right? It says pick up a new language every year. I think in that book. I agree that picking up new languages, new frameworks from time to time is a good idea, if only to kind of refresh your perspective on what the ones you use. Actually, whether they're good, whether there's things that can be improved, right? Um, um, it, I think there's a lot you can learn from picking up other languages and frameworks. Sorry, I had to figure that out. But the problem is how much time you dedicate to learning, because you could also spend that time becoming more capable in the language you primarily use, right? So, yeah, I think you got to balance that out. And as you go further in your career, I know this is turning into general advice beyond what you've actually said you're doing, Remorse. I'm not trying to give you guidance specific. I'm just saying sharing the opinion. As you go further in your career, I think it becomes harder to go off and pick up different languages and frameworks from a productivity perspective. Like time, I don't have time to go and say, hey, I'm going to go and learn Rust if I want to produce all the server software, because I've got to go back to learning the language and the frameworks to achieve what I know I can do in .NET, right? So that's my payoff. Ultimate Online project for processors written in C#, so being able to contribute, that would be cool. And getting to writing custom network packages. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Have fun with it. That's what matters more than anything. I think we should enjoy what we do, whether we're using it for personal stuff or we're using it for production stuff. I think enjoying what you do is a big thing. Advantage of constantly swapping frameworks is I don't think of that learning curve to be bad. But it is bad because it's not allowing you to progress. If you're constantly swapping between them, you're not getting the best from any of them, right? Because you're not able to take yourself to the point of, you're taking yourself to the point of competent in a lot of things. And some of them might give you other insights, so you might become more capable because of things you learn in other languages and frameworks, but it's, yeah. So I think that learning curve is bad. And also the problem comes from you trying to apply what you've learned in a different thing to the new thing and writing the code in that style. So it takes you a while, not just to write the code, but to write the idiomatic code and build things the way that they're meant to be built in that language and framework, rather than the language and framework you're applying that learning from. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think it is very much a good thing to go off and understand other languages and frameworks. And I don't like the idea of dismissing, oh, well, you use Java, right? You're clearly not good. Or, that sort of stuff is a waste of energy. Come on. Oh, authentication failures, man. That's a different problem entirely. Login. Actually, let's go back there. Yeah, that's a legit issue. Why did that not show up there? When I picked up React, I was still trying to build things manually, but after a few test projects, I dropped the bad habits. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm okay with doing it. It doesn't really change the productivity difference. Yeah, it's this is auth0 I'm hooked into here, so just simple auth. It's just because I intend to put this up on on the public internet. It had to have login. My current version does not, but it has to be behind my IP address. Yeah. So I use auth0 a lot. Liquid Sky, which is this project, this is a little bit more involved. Liquid Sky is a more involved application. I use auth0 up to the gateway and then offload to my internal tokens for auth against my backend services. So yeah, that's a little bit more complicated, but I still use auth0 here because I think it works really well. I find my React projects end up adopting a lot of libraries. Isn't that the point of React though? Like, React is not Angular because of that. Angular's a framework and React is a library, or there's a difference. Because I always thought of them as the same thing and they're not. Yeah. But that's a deliberate design. Nice. Well, most of those get caught. John Madden football didn't get caught as a massive increase because it's like 50% on last month or whatever. Or 100% on last month. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to I'd like to make some kind of audio app at some point with Discord as a login, but no ideas yet. I got a lot to learn first. Still struggling to get my head around separate front end and like C# backend. Do you just call C# endpoints and it returns JSON to you? Or yes, that's how I'm doing it. I prefer that method. I know that there's some people that prefer things like Next.js or whatever because they've got backend and front end stuff. I'm a big fan of complete separate, which is why I deploy them as different repos. I like the idea of having complete flexibility in changing the front end without actually doing anything with the back end or providing different clients. Because, yeah. I use a similar pattern in this. So the API gateway I use, I like this because the client, it looks like one API, but the individual services can provide different APIs. Yeah. And the benefit of that also is that you could actually have different APIs for different clients. So different, they can be routed differently and can be completely separate. So the back end doing what it needs to do. So to me, that's my preferred pattern. Okay, so these don't do anything anyway. On the dashboard, let's create a landing page for why do you do separate repos? I prefer it. I prefer having the individual repos so that I have complete separation. It helps me not merge concerns or blur the lines. I can consider them completely separate. So to me, it's just preference. Mono repos have their advantages for certain, but I have no interest. Even for Liquid Sky has 3 or 4 different repos, but I have it as one solution in Rider. I can still work with them. Yeah. So I don't even need to use submodules. I can just check them all out into a directory structure. I've always been a fan for a very long time of having a complete separate front end and a back end. It's why I don't do too well with Blazor, because it breaks my brain a little bit. I prefer having an API onto which I can put whatever UI I want, and I like separation. How important is writing asynchronously in C#? Like, is there a main thread that you need to make sure not to blocking calls and the whole app have to be async, or can individual functions be async running their own threads? If you're doing Windows UI stuff, you do have a UI thread, and then you do have to do other things out of sync, out of that thread. But if you're doing web stuff, you don't have to worry about that. And the async await pattern is pretty much a consistent thing in .NET server stuff. Mr. Weathers, hello. How you doing? Did I figure out the file download? I did, yes. The problem was, and I did post in Discord for anyone who didn't see this, the problem was that as of .NET 8, they introduced the resilience library, which is basically Poly Light, I think. So they pushed in these resilience pieces, and what happens is it has a default timeout of 10 seconds. So what I've done is I've got in here. Now, I'm going to have to learn more to fine-tune this, because I don't want all my requests to be able to take 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever, right? So you have to do the circuit breaker. You have to add the total request timeout. This is not an obvious API either. So, but this fixes the problem. So yeah, as of .NET 8, the resilience stuff, so Poly got included in the framework. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Remorse. It treated whatever you wrote before or just .NET as a link, so it started out for me. So yeah, separate admin from user stuff. Yeah. So Liquid Sky actually has a completely separate backend that follows the same pattern, and that's built in Next.js, right? That's a experimental thing as well. But Liquid Sky uses a lot of different technology, so I like the separation, and all the core libraries and stuff are included, and you couldn't tell by just checking out the repo because all the repositories are checked out in the same file structure. You only tell when you go to do updates to libraries. As long as you don't have to trigger a UI release when releasing server, then it's probably a win overall. Yeah. Yeah. Independent deployability is definitely a big advantage of having complete isolation of all those things. I know you can manage it and you can juggle it, and yeah, it's just not something I prefer to do. Is it ASP or just .NET Core / .NET 9? This is .NET .NET 9. Yes, so it's ASP.NET because ASP.NET adds the web layers, all those interactions. So there is ASP.NET in there. The project, if you look at the actual type of project, it is an SDK web project. So it is ASP.NET Core, essentially. I really dislike the fact that Core became part of the name to the point where now it is still referred to as .NET Core, even though they dropped the Core moniker from .NET when they hit .NET 5. It's still .NET. It's still like referred to as .NET Core because all the libraries are Core. That was not a naming. They did not think the naming through. I realized they had to separate it from .NET Framework, but it's still Core kind of sticks for them. Yeah. I mean, I get it. You had to split from Framework. Yeah. Yeah, because that's due out in November. I don't download the pre-release stuff. I wait until it's released because it's if I was doing it for work, I would do pre-release to test and verify. But being that I'm not doing this for work, I don't really care. So once they switch over to .NET 10, I will go through and update Liquid Sky to .NET 10 and other projects to .NET 10, just as a matter of course. Yes. Yeah. Time to head for lunch. Thanks for sharing. Take care, Amos. Have a good one. And thank you for the follow. Yeah. The library naming has been a mess for a long time, right? But the .NET Core moniker is just stuck with it. Actually, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my AI generated image here. Might as well get some use out of it, right? Downloads. Reference. What does it do here? Let's see. So this is the image I had to generate for the YouTube stream. yesterday. Um, let's see what it does. Covered up ping. Let's see what it manages. So if you were building this app, what sort of stuff would you like to see? The My Collection page is an absolute garbage fire, by the way, because I can't get the sorting and paging to work properly. And every time I've tried, it breaks the search or it breaks something else, and it's driving me crazy. At some point, I'm going to have to go through and figure out the play now button. I know I've talked to you about this. Eventually, yeah, so for all the games that I can pull ROMs for, I have all the hardware to pull the ROM, so I could actually take the original game and capture the ROM and store it, and that way that would allow me to. There is actually a Mister app. You can actually hook it up so that you can play from a shared source. So that is feasible. That is not impossible. Yeah, Mr. Anhorn, good day. How are you doing? Whoa, maybe. Thank you for the raid. Welcome in. I just clicked on your stream, and I'm like, hold on, that's my chat. I'm a bit slow on the uptake. It's fine. Yeah, you can make a directory, Claude. I don't mind. How do you do? What caused you to pack it in? And hello, anybody coming in from maybe stream. Welcome in. Very quiet. Okay. There you go. I accept edit. That's better. I know this is not a good way to do this, but it's fine. I'm making progress. Ah, gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. Well, come hang out for a bit. Watch me fail and just generally be terrible at development. Yeah. Download issue fixed yesterday, so we got so today I validated the snapshots updated, so now all the pricing updates went through today. So any files, I really need to stop doing this. Where date? Oh, cast. What is it? Cast. Last updated as date equals 2024 09 04. Oh, 2025. It's 2025. Yeah, so 1003 games changed prices since the 31st of August in their pricing files. Okay, there we go. Your ultimate game collection management tool. Track, organize, and discover your favorite games across all platforms. Discover. Do we discuss this? I don't think we discussed this. Log in to continue. Oh dear. Hey, Claude, did you finish? Hey, hey. Actually, trying to log me in. Log in. Uh, it knows what it's meant to do. Talking, I have found definitely talking to the machine like that does trigger some quirky comments from time to time. So yeah, we'll see. That's hilarious. He's like, oh yeah, I didn't know that. Oh dear. Come on, Claude. I can see that Auth Zero provider is properly set up in main TSX. Yeah, that's awesome. Let's do that. Why do you need the end file? Oh, you were just checking to see if it's working. Hmm. Uh, meetings cancelled now with donuts. Nice. That's the best kind of meeting, right? The cancelled ones. So if you are new to the stream, I see there are some viewers hanging out. I am working on building my game library application right now. This is a more light-hearted, easier to focus on application than my larger application. I'm just taking a little break while I do a bit of a reset. And I do intend to go back to the main application as being my focus for the stream. But right now, I want to get this up and running so that I can deploy this and get this in, so that I'm using this. Hi, New. How you doing? To Stone is the one that does that the most frequently. So yeah, there we go. Continue with Google. Yeah, pick me. There we go. That works fine now. Okay, that's better, Claude. Let's commit that. The dogs are funny. I'm doing good, Duca. How are you? Um, Again, when I'm using Claude, I know that it wastes tokens. I realize that it wastes tokens doing this, but if Claude's making the changes, I make the commits as Claude so everyone can see that I am not doing this on my own back. Yeah. What, did you actually move it? No, you didn't. Yes, save delete that one. That one. Okay. That's interesting. Handle. Dev stuff haven't known me today. Oh, that's a good sign. Pricing update request. Timeout. And commit and push. So again, if you are interested in this code, if you're interested in the backend code or the front end code, you are more than welcome to go check them out on my TBD Friends GitHub. Okay. So we can log in, log out just to see the, yep, there you go. Log in. I'll have to relabel that at some point. It can't be known as Game Trove React. We can see our dashboard with our pricing highlights. I'm thinking recent games should go there. Let's go build a recent games query. Do I need? I have to be careful I don't just use views for everything. So one of the things I'm trying to consider is the speed of this data could be highly improved if I figure out a combined data source. The IGDB stuff, I am storing in its own data store. I'm storing the content. I'm not storing the images. I'm storing all the URLs and stuff. But to try and aid in retrieving the game details, $643 for a new one of them. Oof. Although if you have a mint in box or a new in box Nintendo game, you are doing pretty good. Because up until the early 2000s, when they did the GameCube, Nintendo games were all in cardboard boxes, right? And a lot of kids threw them out. Okay, so we have a good point. Yeah, everything's generally working. Cache queue entries, yes. Basically, as I click on a game, it pushes off a message to say, "Hey, go and pull this data," and it repulls that data again. Not ideal. I'm spamming IGDB twice within a small amount of time, but they allow up to 8 requests a second at max. They advise 4. But I'm pulling that information and then retrieving it so that next time I go and get that game, I actually pull it from my data store rather than theirs. So, and out of 1,800, I've only gone through 370 games so far. Let's get this committed. Whoa, where are you coming from? Oh, no. What are you doing? Games API, pricing. Heck no. I'm not committing the pricing files. No. Right now, this is SQL Server. I am contemplating switching over. Although, all likelihood, I'm going to push this into Azure. And I've used SQL Server there for the current version, so I could just use the same database server and just port the information. So, and that's not costing me very much every month. I think currently I'm at like $13 or $14 a month for what I have so far, but this would obviously be a bit more involved. Where are you? To get better at this. Hey. Secrets. Pricing star. Yeah, let's remove. Get rid of them. I don't want to delete the file. I listen to embedded DBs like SQLite, Torso.db, and I think that's the way to go. Yeah, yeah. Stony, if you haven't watched his stream, he uses SQLite. Nice. An auto response to see the shout out. Wow, that's so personal. No Mercy Bot replied. That's I had barely hit enter then. Stony uses SQLite in a way I've never seen anyone use SQLite. So yeah. Proving that it is kind of capable of doing a lot of data. But with my background, I'm happy using SQL servers, NoSQL databases, etc. Yeah. How do I on stage that one? That's like, thank you for the shout out. I appreciate it, bot. I'm not bullying you for using SQLite. I'm saying it's impressive how much you use SQLite. If people want to see what SQLite can really do, your app is going to show them. It and 8 billion joins it does. I'm not bullying you. I mean it with love. You're just performing miracles, that's all. What do I want to do here? I want to do terminal. Git reset. Git status. Where are you? There. Deleted it. Because it's not a file that I've changed. Right, okay. Remove. Right, file. DB is used by some Dutch train company and a great aggregation of 5 gig of data to 0.2 seconds. That's good enough for a lot of projects, plus no latency hosting fees. Yeah. But your data is stored. Actually, you're not the first person to say .db this week. Right. They don't have a .NET library, do they? That's what I was looking at today. Yeah, there's no .NET library. So it'd be CLI access, yeah. Do they? Client API, C, CLI, Go, Java, Node, ODBC. It won't let you link, sorry. Python web or something. All client API. Oh, there we go. Okay. C#.net. Okay. Secondary. Okay, it's not them that supports it directly, but there is a library. Yeah. Yeah. No ADO.net do I provider for bindings. Okay. Yeah. I'm not handwriting SQL. um, okay, that was. Um, okay. Feature, replace channel event bus with I don't think Streamlabs is connected. I think they've given up on me. Our integration with Kik is here. Kik's still around. Back to dashboard. Chat. Cloudbot. Active on Twitch. Commands. You might be active on Twitch, but you're not actually doing anything on Twitch. Trying to set up SQL provider because that supports it and it's nice. I'm writing a sharp though. Gotcha. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Entity Framework. I think Entity Framework gives me a lot of flexibility while keeping me away from writing hand-built SQL. I don't often find the need to break into the SQL pieces. So writing a bunch of SQL strings around means that organizing code and yeah. But yeah. With it's not multi-threaded, with multiple subscribers version, verified, late success, that's fine. Commit and push that. Oof. Okay. So at some point I do want to consider the overall structure of all this. I'm building it similar to how I built Liquid Sky. There's some things that I really don't like about what I've done, but they're they straddle the line of infrastructure and application, but they're not application. I like having a type provider and being decoupled from the actual DB so you can swap it out for Postgre if there's ever a need. I mean, that rarely, it's more, Eloquent is not better. Eloquent is not better. It is different, but it's not better. You can add interceptors into that, you know that, right? You can use interceptors to do exactly the same thing in Entity Framework. You just inherit from a default object that has last updated and created at, and have an interceptor that checks for inserted. And if it's inserting, it sets the last created date and the created at. And if it's updating, it sets the last updated at automatically. That's how I do it in Liquid Sky. I don't track last updated in any of my code. I have an interceptor that says, does this support last updated? Yeah, it does. Because that's an opinionated approach. You have the flexibility to do it and automate it. Why would it do it for you? The default assumption that everyone has a created at and updated at, it's opinionated. Okay, so command API endpoint stats. That's down the left hand side. No. No, we're not. Some people just use the last updated. Some people use different columns. But I don't do that all the time. Some people also set created at and last updated at the same time. So if they're the same, you know that it was created and whatever. Some people infer behavior from it. It's, yeah. In this, I don't have created at. I don't care about created all the time. I have updated date, and that's set to the day I created it. If it's new, I don't really use it for anything else. My snapshot last updated. Now that's an inconsistency from my perspective, but that's because I've changed these out recently, and I've aligned to more how I deal with. Well, that's import date, right? So that means something different now, right? Because these aren't updated. These are never updated. These are, yeah. I keep hearing that OMs tend to cause some issues long term. Not sure what type they are. They do have restrictions. ORMs do come with, I'm saying it's not opinionated about last updated, created, etc. But some of those opinions on how you should build queries, etc., become restrictive at some point. In Entity Framework, if I want to call custom functions, it's a little hard to do. You end up breaking out and using other stuff, right? Or store procs or whatever, invoking store procs. You can't just invoke a function from within. So yeah. So there's limitations of what it can do. Using and building for Java made me realize I love opinions. Move from Ant to Groovy. Ant, the most unopinionated build system, to the most in Java. Yeah. I think EF core should provide an easy way to define the date behavior on columns, like update to the current time when making a change. Because you want that behavior. You can create that behavior. It's not a hard thing to do. I wish there was a way to give some read-only access to repos. Where is it? Foundation, shared, interceptors. Hey Flint, how you doing? I know I can make triggers, but it's manual instead of just an attribute that then handles it from behind the scenes. Well, yeah, I get it, but you can create that behavior. Yeah, I'll send you a code file. So all I do for this is because everything inherits from identity, right? In Liquid Sky, everything does get last updated and created dates, right? So last updated is definitely done. So in Liquid Sky, I've shared the code with you on there, but yeah. Yeah, can't resist good .NET combos. Nice. Well, welcome in. I pretty much do .NET exclusively on this stream. Right now, I'm working on my game library. I've not used relational database in like 3 years. I should. I really like my no schema document database. Again, pros and cons, right? Like, what I'm contemplating is I would like to condense this data. So the game tracking stuff right now, right? I have all the IGDB stuff, the mappings and stuff. The data that I'm pulling from IGDB, I'm caching in Mongo, so that I don't have to. Um, um, it's not a stream. Uh, but I want to be able to. Ideally, it would be nice to say, hey, I want all the games that are action games, or I want to see all whatever games, and I can't do that right now because these two data sources are disparate. But I don't want to pull IGDB data through into my core game database, because if IGDB goes away or an API changes, I don't want to build up a dependency on that. So my answer there would be to create a view database that would consolidate all that information into one source, so that if IGDB went away or IGDB started charging and I couldn't do it anymore, I could just disconnect that source and replace it with another one. That would be the goal. So yeah, this app is for me to track my game library. I have made it through linking 360 games so far to IGDB. California games for the AES link. There you go. Link that. Nesport of California games. Wow, that took some original writing right there. Cool Borders 3. That's awesome. Oh, really? Is that because that is that? Yes. Nice. And that opened up a whole bunch more. Call of Duty. I think that is that way. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Yes. No, I had it right and it didn't find it, so I changed it and it finds it by that. That's hilarious. Gee. IGDB search is janky at best. So yeah, I linked the games. What I was going to do is get the most recent games I've added. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of them, isn't there? I don't. Let's have a look. Let's see if the search is being nice to me. Call of Duty. Yeah, I don't have many. Advanced Warfare for the PS4. I think it's most of these are. Call of Duty World at War. That was a good game. I enjoyed that one. Maybe. I own more Final Fantasy games though. Yeah. Final Fantasy. See, Final Fantasy 6 reimagined Final Fantasy 6. IGDB does not find Final Fantasy 6. That's annoying. Why has ever changed that to that, even though it's incorrect? Nope, you still don't find it. Oh well. What I've been intending to do is go to IGDB. Oh, that's just irritating. It finds it perfectly as Final Fantasy 6. Awesome. Oh, you're doing it per SKU instead of IP. So so what I classify as a game is a title on a platform, right? So if I have Final Fantasy 9 on the PlayStation and Switch, that's 2 games, right? That way I can track those things. Now, I have the different versions in one of the games. Yeah. First was another embedded DB supports having on-device read-write copies of the database and syncing them with a single line of code. Sounds like a good fit for mobile apps that need to work offline. Yeah, yeah, that's a good use case there. Yeah, so yeah, so kind of the reason I went there is I'm not. It's kind of per SKU, but it's per platform rather than because if I had legendary editions, limited editions, etc., at this level, that made a noise, right? So you'll notice IGDB, when I went to link, it has, right? So I have the deluxe edition. If I have the regular edition of this, I would have, I have this digitally as well. That's why that's in Mint. Then that would also show in here. Whereas if I pivoted it and made the deluxe edition, so yeah, when I go to IGDB, you'll see remake, digital upgrade, deluxe edition, first class edition, etc. If I owned them and had them as separate games, then it would bloat the number more artificially, right? So I consider them all the game, and then, but the game is a title on a platform, and the individual SKUs. So, but let's show this off. I also, let's see if this still works after Claude's been at it. So I do support. That search is weird. It does. It should have found just that one, right? But it's found things I've searched. So Claude has made a mess of that search right royally. But I can scan barcodes and yeah, get to other games. Gears 5. This collection should get yeah. Some of this was working really nicely and clearing out, but it's not working anymore. I'm also finding it very therapeutic to sit there clicking through and linking games while I'm talking about stuff. Recent games. What I'm debating is no, not on there, on there. So let's start from games. Order by last updated date. Descending. Yeah, so that would give me the last bunch of games. Now, one of the challenges I'm thinking about is, like I was starting saying before, is it would be nice to show artwork on some of these to add a little bit more flourish to the UI. And on these, when I show them in a second, it would be nice to show like the title, the covers, the cover art as kind of the panels. The problem with doing that is IGDB and my data are not linked, right? So how do I do that properly? And I'm open to suggestions how you might tackle it. I'm not looking for the answer. I'm trying to think about what the right answer is here for what I'm building. Ultimately, the goal of this app is purely to be able to give myself insights into what my collection is doing, understand if the market's changing drastically, try and get ahead of trends. So if there's games that are worth something that I don't want in the collection necessarily because I've picked them up as part of something else, or they were picked up and I really don't feel like playing them ever, then I can sell them, make more money to buy the games I do want in the collection. Also, if something was to happen to me, my wife has a comprehensive list. And yes, I know there are apps that already do this. I'm not I am not oblivious to the fact there are apps to track game collections, but this is mine. It has to be box art. So IGDB provides cover art, so like you can see, it provides the cover art link. My problem is I'm not linking IGDB closely with my data. I'm trying to think about how I do it with It might be that I create a condensed cache of my data to Mongo, and I don't call this IGDB cache. I call this something differently. So one option would be to pull the data together into a consolidated view database and use that database to build the UI off of, right? So I join all the IDDB stuff, I do all that sort of stuff in there, so that database is able to have all the cover art links. So when I pull a game, I can pull its cover art image. But then my personal tracking of the data is maintained. I'm a big fan of separation of concerns. Would you have to manually input game value, or are you thinking of estimating it somehow? So these values here, this is all using price charting data. So when I enter a game, right now I've removed that feature, I think. No, I didn't. I left it in. If I go to add a game, let's say, what game would this be? Let's say Gears of War 3. That's one that's coming this week, so I know that's coming. Xbox 360. So I search this. When I go to this, I link it, and now when I go to save the game, it'll allow me to save that game. If I go into a game and go to add a copy of a game, it will let me select the date purchased, how much I paid for it, and barcode it, etc., and set the condition. The condition is how I deem it, so that if it's sealed, that's new, that's mint, so it evaluates that as new, and that obviously makes a difference for the price chart and stuff. So I'm pulling price charting data in. I have a paid API key from price charting that allows me to run that update, and that's what I did this morning. I went into here, I hit that button, it downloads the file, and then goes off and updates all the game pricing in the background. So I have the history. So all that, these are locally stored history records of those games. So yeah. And these are basically calculations of the percentage change pricing update to pricing update. So once I have this running weekly, that'll be basically biggest changes in the last week on pricing. Right now it's this is from 4 days ago. The price jumped almost 500%. So that's price charting, I believe, uses sold data from eBay and I think other sources to indicate, pricing. So yeah, someone paid 5 times for Sonic Chaos. So over the last 12 months, it's gone up 600%. So yeah. So on August 11th, someone paid $82 for a new copy, and then recently, September 4th, the file update from September 4th, someone paid $450 for a mint new copy. Yeah. Morning, Napalm. How you doing? I get lost in the data, so I do apologize. Let's implement some features. Let's implement that recent games, and I can think about the other stuff later. That's a deluxe edition. That's a almost 40-year-old game as well, right? That's the scary thing there. That's wrong. Do I not have that data yet? I do have the data, I just don't think I display it. Again, a benefit of having the consolidated data for form would be, yeah. Sonic the Hedgehog Chaos. That's for the Sega Master System. That released 32 years ago, sorry. That's a 32-year-old game, and someone paid $450 for a copy. Yeah. Basically, if you have games in your attic, or you have, your parents have your childhood games or whatever, check them out. I was thinking how you'd handle when to sell. You may want to keep that game that's bad on paper and sell a good game. How do you handle those? Sonic's older than 30 years old. No, that was 1993 Sonic that launched, yeah. You fit perfectly in the thumbnail. Nice. I was thinking how you'd handle when to sell. You may want to keep a game that looks bad on paper and sell a good game. How do you handle those? I haven't really thought about the selling piece of it right now. I don't buy the games for investment. I buy the games I want to play. The goal will be to shift to more gaming streams, definitely on weekends, and get this integrated so that we can pick games that I'm going to play based upon an accessible collection, that we can actually. I'm a big stats nerd, right? I'm a big information nerd. So if I like learning things about the games I play, I like learning, release dates and stuff like that. So this gets me lost, right? I love playing with this sort of stuff. Yeah, there you go. As of the pricing update from today, and that's just 2 days ago, by the way. So these are selling for some reason. So if you have a mint in box Super Mario World, never been opened, you have about $11,000 sat there right now. And that's based on sales. So a year ago, a copy of that would have gone for $800. Yeah. I do not have any of those, by the way. So I do not have any big value games. I have a lot of games, but no big value games. It'd take you longer to get out with games than it would. You'd have to find them. Yeah. So let's not encourage that. Yeah, these vicious animals, they'll defend. So. Yeah, let's get this feature added. Let's do this. So we go here. Games API endpoints, games stats, recent, public class. This is a pattern I'm going to change soon. So public GUID identifier, public string name, string platform, public list. Averages. Could I do with averages? I could do with averages, yeah. Yeah. You snore away. Actually, I could do games list response model. That would work. Games list. That's a separate model. Okay, that can do that. So we'll do it that way. That works. Yeah, if you have any questions, thoughts, opinions on this, you're more than welcome to ask. If you feel that I'm writing terrible code, you're more than welcome to to state that, if as long as you have a better solution. Except maybe you're not allowed to say anything. Because I know that it's .NET, so that's gonna IEnumerable. So this would be results. Okay. IEnumerable games list response. Not found. Configure. Override. Configure. Get. Games. Recent. Twitch chat plays type of integration for some games eventually. Doug has the implementation on GitHub, so it shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, that's I don't know. I think the interactive nature is definitely something that's very appealing. But to me, you know, playing the whole yeah, you have a question. What would your question be? What's my favorite scary movie? I don't think I've watched. I know I've seen a lot of movies like that, but yeah, I don't really have a favorite. They're all great. I feel I'm going to be moving into management the way my career is progressing. Good and bad, being what I typically loathe, but more time and energy to work on stuff I want to. You'd think. Yeah. I'm kind of in a bit of a limbo there in terms of my career. I'm kind of not in dev, but I'm not in management. I feel that dev is awesome. I love doing dev, but I think if you care about dev, going into management and being more representative of what developers need and trying to provide that is a better path. It's a bit more hands-off than you want it to be. But I feel that being someone who loves quality, like I strive for it, right? I might not be best. I'm not the best developer ever, right? I don't have any illusions that I'm amazing at development, but I feel that I'm capable, and I feel that encouraging others who do excel at it to produce the best and be given the tools they need and the support they need. It's yeah. Just drop the kids to school for their first day. This management conversation is one that definitely has been it's being a producer of code is fun, but when you are a tool at the end of a chain, it's not as fun. And I think that's where I feel putting people who have a real understanding of what it means to develop software well is beneficial. Oh, thanks, maybe. Powerball plus retirement would be ideal. Yeah. I think I'd still develop software. I'd just be able to do it on Twitch 8 hours a day, right? If I hit a lottery. Yeah. Execute. So this will do. What I'll do is we'll go over here to the application layer, create a query, games, fetch 5 dated games, static public class query. I dislike this, just creating a class for the sake of it, but it's fine. iQuery, IEnumerable of game list DTO. That works. For me, solving problems with software is where the fun comes from. Oh, absolutely. I definitely love solving problems. Unfortunately, when if you're in an organization, oftentimes the management structure above you doesn't necessarily appreciate what it means to write software, and software developers in general kind of get into that mentality of let me go and do something, which then they lose touch with the why often. And I think having management in place that is still trying to provide that why and also fight the fight for we need to do this needs to be done, and keeping an eye on that quality and encouraging the development teams to and I know it's idealistic to some extent, but I can dream. I think it's a very important thing to not just let developers go off and develop. I think developers need to understand the whys. They need to be involved in the conversation and be able to be, I hear a lot of comparisons of like tradespeople and developers. I'm like, yeah, but you listen to a plumber, you listen to a carpenter, you listen to a bricklayer, you listen to an electrician when they tell you, oh, you need to do this and here's how to do it properly, right? But developers say, oh no, we need 2 months to do this, and we go, whatever, and yeah, we're not taken as seriously in that respect because of a multitude of things, mostly because we just like going off and tinkering and solving a problem. Yeah, I'd often tell people if they're thinking about moving into management, ask your manager what they do every day and figure out if they really want to do that. Yeah. Yeah, it's not. Eh, new field compared to electricians and bricklayers and plumbers, yes. But we've been doing software development for 50 plus years, right? There's books dating back on how to write good software 30 years. So it's not, you know, doesn't mean we can't change things, right? And this shift to more self-learning and less structured education. Yeah. Well, again, we're not tradespeople. I was using the fact that I keep hearing comparisons to tradespeople as a kind of a reference to, that's great, but those tradespeople also understand how to talk to people and tell them what they need. In general, the good ones. The bad ones will rip you off and make a mess anyway. But yeah. Anyway. This games. Let's see if we can get Claude working on this while we do the other thing. I keep opening new blinking windows. Going to what we do is we go here, create a temp file, games list response.json. Create that temp file, save that. Virtual API, call to API games recent. This will return of games reference Okay, let's get that working. And I've got to finish up here, but the worst is when management signs off on something that can't be reasonably delivered. If you're lucky, you might dodge getting the blame for it. Well, again, that's developers being more involved in the process, being more consulted on the process sooner, given an idea of what they're doing, being allowed to build more consistent software rather than just hacking on stuff. Take care, Napalm. Thank you for coming by. Yeah, the entire process is broken, and then we try and apply things like Agile, and Agile doesn't work because we're not set up for doing that sort of development, and then we blame Agile as being bad, and it's a cycle, right? And I think having the right people in place to allow certain things to happen and make the fight for, okay, let's take our time on this piece because then we can do these pieces and make those right arguments, but also encourage and motivate developers to deliver new most recent 5 games spec selection token. Yeah, I have opinions. It is fine. You know, what is achievable? I don't know, but I think it should be strived for. So this is going to be query dot order by descending q dot last updated date. See, that's what take. Actually, that's all we need for that. That's actually not. This is games by last updated descending spec, and then we want as no tracking, so we have the speed. We don't want it, we're not going to update them. So specifications that can be reused now. I'm finding more reuse in the specifications I'm building in this app than I have done in Liquid Sky so far. So that's that, and then we do return. So this is going to be the very same as we're going to need that query though. The only difference is the order by. That's why that needs to do that. Specifications, games by last update description, order by. So that's going to take, that's going to remove the take. I'm going to do the order by descending, g goes to g dot updated date. We're going to return a game list DTO, and yeah, we're going to remove that, and that fixes that as DTO. That's fine. Potentially too much information, but we'll get there. Return results. results. So what we do here is any result dot that's why that wasn't working. Doesn't help them. Something's irritating my eye, so my eye is burning. Results start take 5. Results start not found. Doesn't matter what I put there, bad, conflict, whatever. It's more to the point of delivering a result of some type that I can be consistent around to say, hey, this didn't return what you thought it should have done. Right, that's the point. Stats recent, that can go to games recent. That's fine. Refactor this, adjust namespaces. So this now can look more like, oh no, I did all this in, okay. That's got to do, I got to copy that for right a second. It's not a page result set though. It's a game list DTO. It's slightly different. Slightly different. Only just that. New result set, games list response model. Oh, that's paged. That's paged. Oh. Oh, that's the page part. That's just gonna be enumerable then. Right. That's that. There you go. So then we do sender, and then we do async var results equals await sender.send new fetch last 5 updated games query. That's the worst part about that design. And then I can do that, can do build result from query. I did it automatically. And I can just do return results any typed results dot okay results or bad request or not found. Helps if you make it a ternary, not a and that's just going to do it to list. As enumerable, sorry. Really, that doesn't do. It's warning me about multiple enumeration because it'll execute that. Let's see what it does. Welcome back. Sadly, I will be finishing shortly, but I will be taking you, hopefully, if I'm right about the person, to another .NET place. Yes, I am. Yes. So, let's see. Did this finish? Oh. So one of the points I was trying to make before is like, this might not be the greatest code you've ever seen. It might not do things that are that revolutionary, but it is consistent. I understand what it is to implement something. I understand the where I'm reusing code, where I'm copying code, and where I can refactor. I can evaluate that pretty quickly. So adding that feature from conception to implementation has taken me less than half an hour overall. And I think that's where heading towards as a software platform is a useful thing. And it doesn't matter whether it's more the team is able to say, oh, we know what it is to add this, we know what it is to change this, we know what the impacts are. If a team can do that, then a team can estimate better, and it kind of feeds in. But you need people in place to be able to make the argument for doing that sort of code, and not letting developers get away with just adding in, oh, well, we need this fixed now, so let's just add in this code. If you can develop more consistently, then everything smooths out. So it removed this piece. I'm not doing a platform filter on it right this second. Yeah. If you haven't, with front end and back end separate, does that mean you're running two separate web servers? Essentially, yeah. If you didn't come in with that raid, maybe streams a couple of times a week. He works on his app, Barely Fit, which is in the app stores. It is a great tracking app for food and health and fitness stuff and exercise tracking, etc. I would highly recommend checking it out. It is awesome. Okay, so that's running. That's running. Did you just fail? Recent. You just got nothing. You're just going to take your sweet time. Or did I just enumerate so many times it? Okay, we're just going to send off a request into the ether. There we go. It failed. Okay. It failed because the timeout elapsed. That's awesome. I should definitely do that again. Okay, well, anyway, I don't have much more time, so I don't have any time. I'm going to be at work now, so I will likely be back tomorrow. I'll ping in the Discord. If you are interested in more conversations around .NET, around programming in general, or you just enjoy dropping memes, there is a Discord channel attached to the stream. It's generally active. If you ever want to drop in and have a voice chat, I hang out there several times a week. No guarantees it's about anything you want to talk about. It could be random stuff. We could be talking about the weather. We could be talking about problems we're facing at work and just de-stressing. It is an adult, pretty much, focused chat. So you're not going to. We don't often talk about lighter subjects. We're oftentimes complaining about work or trying to solve problems and put the world to rights. So, but you are more than welcome to join the Discord if you're interested. It's linked in the cards below. So, let us go and raid Stony. So Stony is working on his No Mercy media application, the effortless encoder, I believe. A designer had words to say. Oh, he's playing with the way things lay out today. So we'll go raid Stony. Again, I'll probably be back tomorrow. I will try and set up a more regular streaming schedule over the next couple of weeks. Right now it's a how does a day feel sort of approach. But yes, I'll be back. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you again soon. Bye all. And I promise I will set up my stream decks.